Hi, today I will show you how you can upload your local project to your GitHub repository. For that, I will use a feature which is included in Visual Studio 2022. So, Visual Studio 2022 and later feature, and also the most past version of Visual Studio, there is one of the nice features regarding Git. So I use I will use this Git feature to actually upload my project. So for that I will create a new project which is a console application. Next, text git upload. Next, I will not use top level statement. So if I check this option, it will add a method and a class in the program file. Create. So if I would not use the if I would not check the do not use top level statements, then this main method and program will not appear here. So only console.writeLine method would have shown. So I need the main method and console.writeLine because I am actually comfortable with this structure. So now I have a project in place. I want to upload this project into my GitHub repository using the Git feature of the Visual Studio. So I will choose create Git repository and there it is showing the few information regarding the Git. So Git ignore file, I will not have any Git ignore file here for now. So I can add a readme.md file. So for now I will not add readme, I can add this later. Repository name testing upload, so I can change the repository name, but for now I will not change this. I have GitHub account, this is my GitHub account, this is the owner name, and this is the description I can give. This is a test git upload sample. So visibility public, if I keep this private, so only I can see this repo, so others will not be able to see this. So I will actually give the privacy as public. So create and push. So you see git ignore file is already added here. So the purpose of the git ignore file, that if I want to omit or ignore any file that I don't want to push that into my GitHub repository, then I can actually write those files here. So for example, if I don't want to commit the program.cs, then I can just write the program.cs here, so it will not commit this program.cs if I do a commit command. So currently so it has already actually since I have a create and git repository, I have already created and posted it. So now if I go to my repository list, so if I see that, you see there is a repository test git upload that I have actually created here. So this is the, if I go to this folder, then the program files here hello world. Now if I edit this, say I have been uploaded to GitHub repository. So if I have if I want to now push this change, I will stage this first and give some message. Program main method text is changed in console. I will commit stage and then push. Here you see that the new change has been reflected here. So this is one of the ways how you can upload your local project to your GitHub repo. Now I will show you how using git command you can upload your project. So for that I will close this. Okay, I will create another project. This is also a console application and test git upload using command. Next. So now if I actually uncheck the do not use top level statement, you will see that the hello world is actually written here without any main method, without any class. So this is a project here in place. So now I will actually use git command to upload this project into git repo. For that I will have to create a git repository in my GitHub. So GitHub repository should be in place in the first place. So here I will create a GitHub repository. So new repository name test git upload using command, git command to be specified. This is a git repo created using commands. So I will have a public repository. I can add a readme, or I can add it later. For now I will not add any git ignore here. I can add the git ignore from my Visual Studio code, from my Visual Studio create repository. So if you create a repository without any readme command created initially, you will see a bunch of commands that you can use to push your local project. So I will use exactly those commands. So now I will go to in the terminal, terminal, and I will go to the root directory. So this is my root directory. In my root directory I will do a git init. Sure, if you run git init, then a .git folder will be created in your local project root directory. That means your project is initialized as a git repo. So I can add readme.md command if you have already a readme file in your local project. So I will not use this command for now because I don't have any readme file. So I will commit this git commit dash m first commit. Okay, before that I have to add git add all command because otherwise it is not getting any file that should be committed. So git add all. Okay, if I write the git add all, there is a .bs idx permission denied. So one thing you can do, you can run the Visual Studio as an administrator to avoid such permission error. Like if I go to Visual Studio run as administrator, then run git add all, then maybe it will not show. Even though if you run the Visual Studio using administrator, and even though it after that it shows this permission denied, then actually we have to see the error message. The error is showing that vsidx file permission denied. Actually this is an internal file of Visual Studio itself, so we don't want to commit this. For that we can actually create a git ignore file, add new item, so dot git ignore add, and we can just write the dot vs folder, which will actually ignore all the files and folders inside the .vs folder in the root directory. Here in the root directory you see that .vs folder, so we don't want to actually commit this folder because it is an internal folder of Visual Studio itself, which contains the files that we don't need actually to commit. So this is one of the usages this is one of the usages of the git ignore file. So how can I use the git ignore? So now if I run this git add all, it will actually ignore all the files and folders inside .vs. Actually inside the .vs there is a vsidx extension. Yeah, here the .vs folder, here file content index.vsds. so this is the internal files and folders of Visual Studio itself. We don't want to commit this. Now if I run the git add all, it is adding all the files, and after that we can actually run the command to actually commit and push the files. So for that we can check actually what branch do we have in our repository created by default. git branch. Currently we don't have any branch actually in my repo. Okay, actually we have to first we have to add origin repo. So if I do git remote add origin, here you see that the repository that I have created, it gave us an URL. So I will copy this URL here, and now it is connected, this local repository is connected to the remote GitHub repository. Now if I do a branch command, we can actually create a branch here, git branch and main. So now if I do a branch command, it is still not showing because we have to first commit this. So currently when we run this commit command, it is actually committing, it is actually connecting to the to our GitHub remote repository. So now if I do git commit -m first commit, here you see that after committing with in the git, it is showing that we have now a branch named main, which is a default branch of my git repo. So since I have run the commit command, it is actually committing locally, it is not yet in our git repository. For that we have to push. So git push -u, which is the abbreviation of upstream origin main. It is pushing all my files and folders to git repository. Actually -u means the upstream, which actually indicates that next time when you run the push command, you don't need to actually type -u branch name, origin, all that. If you run the git push, it will automatically detect the remote branch that you are connected to. So upstream does this work. It tells you that you don't need to specify origin and branch name when you write push command later and every time. So now if I refresh this, you see you have the file and folders already uploaded. Now if I actually I have used git commands to be uploaded in the repo. If I change this text to the new extended text, And now if I can use this, but currently I will not use the git feature of the git UI feature of the Visual Studio, because I am using the command prompt. Now since I have added and changed the program file, so I will run the git add all again and git push now. Okay, git add all, I have to git commit, git commit dash m second commit. So after adding the git add all, before git push command, you have to do git commit so that it can locally commits into the git in your local git. So now it is showing that one file changed, so git push, it is pushing. So now actually you see that I didn't actually did the git push dash u origin main. I didn't do that because since I have done the upstream tag earlier, it can automatically detect that which repository and which branch I want to push my change to. Now if I actually go there in my repository, in the programs, you see that the new change has been reflected. So I hope you have understood how you can actually commit your local project to your GitHub repository, how to initialize your local project as a Git repository, and how can push your repository to your GitHub repo. Thank you. In the future I will come up with